Hello, grade 7 students. Today, I'm planning to discuss a past paper with you. 2021 October monthly test past paper, as you have your monthly test next week. So I thought to discuss a past paper with you. So then before watching this video, I suggest you first download the paper and do the paper along. Thereafter, you can watch the video. Otherwise, it's just like that you're watching the video and you don't know that how to do it along. It's better if you can do the paper along. Maybe there are some questions you cannot attempt along. It doesn't matter. Whatever the questions you can do alone, you can attend. Then other questions, let's say if you can't remember the theory content, you can refer the textbook and you can try it first. Thereafter, you can start watching this video. Okay, children, so I'll share the paper first and let's get started. Okay, so this is the paper I want to discuss with you, right? So I have told many times when I'm doing a paper discussion or the past paper discussion, the most important thing you want to do before start writing your answers, you want to read the instructions. Now you can see on top of the paper, they have mentioned that monthly test October 2021 and the subject class you want to fill the gap 7A, 7B, 7C. Likewise, you want to fill the gap and the duration. Time duration they have allocated for this paper, it is 2 periods. Then you want to write your name, the admission number and the date. And also, can you see on top of that, you can see a rectangle, right? The rectangular box. So it says out of 100, you will get 95 marks maximum for the paper, then another 5 marks for the handwriting. So then don't get be misled with this, that the 5 marks handwriting, in the sense it's not the that you are writing that the nice handwriting, so then you are getting the marks for that. No, this means, so these 5 marks, it will be allocated for the whole neatness and how you have presented the answers and the accuracy of the numbers in the sense that how you write them and accuracy of the letters, that we consider all these things when we are giving these 5 marks. So you want to pay your attention for that also. Then we will move to the instructions. Answer all the questions. Record your answers in the spaces provided in this paper for part 1. And you are not allowed to use the calculator and use line papers to answer part 2. Now, when you go through the instructions, you can understand in this paper, you have 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. For all the questions in part 1, you want to write the answers on the paper itself. So they have given us the spaces. So we want to manage the spaces and write our answers. And part 2, where we need to use the line papers. Here, line papers in the sense, children, in the exam hall, you will get the extra writing papers from your teachers. So these line papers you want to use to write the answers for part 2. But I want to mention you very important fact here. Now, let's say that you are writing answers for part 1, that you feel that the spaces they have given, it's not enough for me. So then I want to write the answers nicely with more spaces. Therefore, I am going to write the answers in the line papers. Let's say that when your teacher, that she or he is marking your paper, that realize that all the answers are correct, but still you don't get the marks. Right? Why is that? That you may think that if my answers are okay and if they are correct, why my teacher is not giving the marks? Because you have not read the instructions, right? Because in the instruction column, it says you want to write the answers in this paper itself with the spaces provided. By any chance, let's say that if we move to part 2, look at the part 2, children. So then if I show you part 2, let's say that when you are doing this, you feel that somehow you can manage here that I'm going to use the paper itself and I have enough spaces. Again, maybe that your answers are correct. you don't get the marks for that because you have not used the line papers. Because the instruction it says for part 2, you want to use the line papers. Likewise, if you have not done anything which you were asked you to do, then you don't get the marks. Therefore, please be mindful when you are doing the exam papers. The very important thing, you want to read the instruction. Okay, right. We will move to part 1. And here, if you have studied the past papers, right, last 3 years past papers, you can see always part 1, question number 1, we have 10 sub-questions like this, worth of 10 marks, right? And you have enough space in the right side to have your working column. So we don't need to have a working column for each and every questions. But straight away that there are some questions where we can get the answers straight away. But there are some questions we need to do the workings. As we don't have enough space in between the questions, what we can do, children, you can draw a working column first of all using your ruler like this. Right? You have a working column like this. As you have enough space, my line is not straight. Right. So then you can do whatever the workings here. Okay. So then the question number 1, that Roman number 1, it tells about -3 and -1, but they have not given anything in between that whether I want to add them, whether I want to multiply or divide, they have not given anything. So that, is it a printing mistake? No. You know that when you have the 2 brackets like this, in between those 2 brackets, it tells us to multiply these 2 numbers, right? You should know that. That is what they are testing with this question, whether you know that concept or not, right? -3 multiplied by -1. 3 multiplied by, it is 3. Negative multiplied by negative number, you multiply by another negative number, it gives you +3. So then what I do, I put the equation mark here and I write the answer 3 here. Okay. Then I move to the second question. Second question, it is 3.22 multiplied by 10 to the power 2. Right? So you have learned this. What does this mean? That first of all, you want to solve this part. 10 to the power 10 means 10 multiplied by 10. Right? The answer is 100. Then you can rewrite the question how 3.22 multiplied by 100. You have a decimal value and you want to multiply it by 100. Children, you have done this when you were in grade 6, right? So the decimal multiplication, what will happen? So then it will be 322.0, but no point of writing 0 at the end, that we don't have any value change. So therefore, I write the answer 322. Hope it is clear. And the third question, I don't want to have any working 3 to the power 0. So I will recall that the theory behind this. 2 to the power 0, 3 to the power 0, 5 to the power 0, 10 to the power 0, x to the power 0. Anything, any base value, right? If the index is 0, answer will be equal to 1. Okay, whatever the base value, maybe 2, 3, 5, 10, or x, y, l, m, anything. If the index is 0, your answer will be equal to 1. That is the theory they are testing here. Therefore, straight away, you can write the answer here, children. It is 1. Then x multiplied by 0, it is 0. We know that 2 multiplied by 0, it is 0, right? Then 5 multiplied by 0, it is 0. So then if you multiply x by 0, again it should be 0. Let's say a multiplied by 0, again it is 0, right? You multiply any value, maybe that maybe a number or an unknown value. If you multiply it by 0, the answer will be 0, right? So then we will move to the next question. Yeah, again, question similar to the question number 2. It is, so here children, I will separate the questions like this. Why is that? To show my workings clearly, right? Then I will extend my line. Okay. Then I have 32.6 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 2. You know that when you have a negative index, 10 to the power 2, negative 2, then what should I do? I want to make it to positive, that the convert into positive, then I want to get the reciprocal. That means 1 over 100. 10 to the power 2 means 100. Already we did a similar question like this. Now what happened, children? 32.6 multiplied by 1 over 100. If you have that, if you are multiplying something like this, 1 over 100, that means 32.6 you divide by 100. Now, you know that what happened when we are dividing a decimal number by 10, 100,000. Again, you learned this when you were in grade 6. Now, what will be the answer, children? 0.326. So, what I do, I bring the answer like this, 0.326. Right, the next one, the significant figures. Now you want to correct this given number to the second significant figure. What is the second significant figure here? So this is the second significant figure. After underlining the second significant figure, children, then you want to look at the next number. The next number, it is 5. We have learned if it is 5 or more than 5, we need to add 1 to where we need add, right? So this is approximately that this will be equal to 2,400, right? So then 3 become 4 and the other 2 digits become zeros. Then inside the bracket, I want to write 2SF. Why is that? You are telling to the person, whoever that who will be marking your paper, that 2,352 is not equal to 2,400, but it is not, it is approximately equal to 2,400 when I correct it to the second significant figure. Right? That's the meaning of this presentation. Otherwise, 2,352 is not equal to 2,400. No. But what I am showing here, 2,352 is approximately equal to 2,400 when I correct it to second significant figure. Right? So then the next one, you want to write the given number in standard form. Can you remember we have learned something like this? If you have a whole number, right? If you have a whole number and you want to correct that, convert it into standard form. First, what you want to do? 239,800.0. Because how I got this 0, children? If it is 2, I can write this 2 as 2.0, the same value. If it is 5, I can write this as 5.0, right? If this is 23, I can write this as 23.0. Normally in our day-to-day life, when I want to write 2, I don't write 2.0, then 5.0, 23.0 likewise. But sometimes when we are solving the sums, so then and there, according to the question requirement, we will write it like that. Now here, that such requirement came across what it is. So then I wrote this whole number with the decimal point and 0 like earlier. So then what should I do? Now that the number should be in between 1 and 10, right? 2.398 multiplied by 398. First, I will show with the zeros. Otherwise, you may think that what happened to the zeros, and 10 to the power. Now, what happened? 3, 4, 5, right? So then you have 5. But when you write the answer, children, right, you write 2.398 multiplied by 10 to the power 5. Then when you're concluding the answer, no need to write those whole zeros, right? That all zeros, then you don't want to write. Okay, that is done. Then the next one, you have a multiplication, right? You have a multiplication and the same base value. Then if you have the same multiplication and the same base value, what is the rule? We want to add the indices. How we are going to add the indices? Like this. When you have such a negative index, children, you can use the weight. I will write it in a clear way. You can get an idea. You write it like this. A to the power, you open the box bracket, and 5 plus -3. You write it like this. Now it is clear. You add the numbers. What are the two numbers you have? 5 and -3. Then you can solve the bracket and write it like this. 5 minus 3. It is a to the power 2. Children, you want to understand that you may think that when I am writing a to the power 5 minus 3, teacher, that there is a multiplication and the same base value. Normally, we want to add the indices, but here you have subtracted the indices. You may think like that. No, the first step, I did it clearly. What I did, I showed everything inside a box bracket and I showed I am going to add 5 and -3. But -3 I wrote inside the bracket, and when I am solving that bracket, now I have 5 minus 3. The answer is 2. So then I write my final answer, a to the power 2. Right? Then the next one. So the next one, you don't want to use the working column, children, because they have given us the enough space, right? They have given us the enough space. So what you want to do, you want to find the value of x. Straight away, you can't do that. First, you find the value of 2x. How do you do that? 10 minus 9. What happened? That the plus 9 I bring to the other side, then that becomes negative, the 10 minus 9. So then the 2x means, children, 2 times x, right? 2x means 2 times x. 2 times x equal to 1. Then x equal to 1 over 2. Why? That I got 1 over 2. So then what is the relationship between the 2 and the x, children? It is a multiplication. Then when I'm keeping x with me and when I'm sending 2 to the other side, it becomes a division. Now my final answer is 1 over 2. That sometimes you may have written 0.5. So then don't think too much. Then how you got the answer, that as a division, and you just keep it as it is. If you have written 0.5, we can't say that your answer is wrong. But we don't want to think about that manner, because that the half is also a kind of simplified answer. So then we want to find the last one. So then 2 to the power, what does this mean, children? Again, I want to remind you something. If you have 2, if I write it as 2 over 1, the same value. If it is 5, I can write it as 5 over 1. If it is x, I write it as x over 1. Nothing happened to the value when you have that, when you write it as a fraction with the denominator 1. Now, same thing I am doing, 2 to the power -1, and write it as a fraction. Then to convert this negative value to positive value, I want to get the reciprocal, then 1 over 2 to the power 1. And we learn 2 to the power 1, 3 to the power 1, 5 to the power 1, x to the power 1. Now what will happen? It is 2, 3 to the power 1, it is 3, 5 to the power 1, it is 5, and x to the power 1, it is x. What happened? So whatever the base value, if the index is 1, the answer will be equal to the base value, right? Now here what has happened? Index, all the numbers, the index is 1. The different base values. Then answer was equal to the base value. So with that theory in your mind, right, we will do this 2 to the power 1, right? 2 to the power 1 will be 2, therefore 1 over 2, right? Children, now I will show you something Now you look at my paper, the answer, and how I have presented. I will make it smaller, then you can see it. You just see that how I have written it. So then it's neat, right? I have showed the workings separately, and I have tried my best to keep all the equation marks in a line. So then you can write it that the answers like this. This is how you can earn the 5 marks for the handwriting. So then no need to have that the balls like that, the letters like balls, right? So no need to write like that, that the numbers and the letters should be presented accurately in a neat manner. That is the requirement, right? So then we are done with the part 1, question number 1, where we can earn 10 marks for this. So then we will move to the next one, right? Now, this page onwards, you don't need to have a working column separately. You have enough spaces. So here that you have two fractions. So this is we call the algebraic equation, fractional equation. And you want to find the value of P. Can you remember that we learned a nice method called cross multiplication? Yes. So how do you do that? P times 8 equal to 3 times 9. Okay. That means 8P is equal to, now straight away without writing 8P, you can keep along. Now what happened? P is equal to 3 times 9 divided by 8. And you see whether you can simplify any of the numbers. 3 times 9 and 8p times 8, that multiplication 8 we brought to the other side as a division. Then 3 times 9, it is 27 and 8. Now you feel like to convert this into a mixed number, right? But what you want to do, right? So then, by the way, I will explain you how you can convert this into a mixed number, right? Even though we don't want to do that. So 27 over 8 means 27 divided by 8. 8 times 3, 24. What's the remainder? Then I can write it 3. In the middle, I draw this line, 3 over 8. Now you may think that how I got, which 3 I wrote to the whole number, so this 3. And so this is the remainder. Like this. This is how you convert an improper fraction into a mixed number. The same way, let's say you want to convert this mixed number into an improper fraction. How do you do? First, you multiply the denominator and the whole number. 8 times 3. So that you add the numerator value and you keep the denominator as it is. 8 times 3, 24. 24 plus 3, 27. 27 over 8. So this is how you convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. And this is, so these two methods you should know. So then the first one, what I did, I converted the improper fraction into a mixed number. In the second step, I converted the mixed number into an improper fraction. These things for your additional knowledge, right? So then we found the p-value is 27 over 8. So then we will move to the next one. Here in this equation, you can see children, x values you can find in the right side and the left side, in both sides. What you want to do, you bring the x, that like terms, to one side, 3x, and when you bring that 2x to other side, it becomes negative 2x. So then you have 9, and you bring that 2 to the other side as a negative value. So then what will happen? 3x minus 2x, what will be the answer? 1x. But normally when 1x means x, right? If you see x, that means it is 1x. If you see negative x, what does that mean, children? Negative x, what does that mean? It is negative 1x. That means you get that negative 1 multiplied by x. right? Then negative x means negative 1x. What do you mean by negative 1x? Negative 1 times x. So then 3x minus 2x, it is x. Then 9 times 2, 9 times minus 2, it is 7, right? Okay. So then you want to find A, right? You want to find A. What is the theory we want to use behind this?
Grade 7 mathematics monthly test.
Yeah, sorry about it. Mistakenly, I clicked the voice recording. Wait. Sorry about it. Okay, so then how we can write this? I will write it A plus 128.5 equal to 180. What is the reason? Angles on a straight line. This is how you want to write, and you know that you don't want to write angles on a straight line will add up to 180. No, you don't want to write that part because you have already shown it inside the equation that when you add these two angles, it will add up to 180. Already you have shown it. Therefore, you don't want to write it in words. Instead, you write the reason angles on a straight line, right? So then you keep A here. So then 180 minus 128.5. So then what is the answer? 120 that you can do your working here. 180.0. Then you write 128.5. Right? You do the subtraction. And here you have the degree value 2. So then this should be 5. This should be 1. Right. You can double check whether it is correct. 5 plus 5, 10. 8 plus 1, 9 plus 1, 10. 6 plus 2, 8. Yes. So then the answer should be, it is 51.5. Right? That is the answer, 51.5. So then this is also a degree value. Sorry. This is how you find the answer for A. And you want to write the reason with the reason, giving a reason. And the next one also, when you find the value B, you want to give the reason. Children, can you see something here that they are parallel? You have learned this again in grade 6. Sorry. So then you have parallel lines and there is a transversal line like this. So then we do have 3 types of triangle, the angles. Can you remember the corresponding angles, alternate angles, and the interior angles, right? So then normally we say that if you have the lines like this, and so then how do you identify the corresponding angles like this? So these are corresponding angles, right? Another way to identify the corresponding angle, how do you get it? You have the lines like this. So then this is corresponding angle like this, right? I will show you it clearly. Then I will draw a bigger one. Then we can revise everything with one picture. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, right? Now what we can do, we can write that equal angle. What are the equal angle? First we'll write corresponding angles. What are the corresponding angles here? Can you see? With the first one, C equal to G. You see whether I'm doing it correctly, right? So then the other one, it is D equal to H. Right. So then A equal to E. Right. So then B equal to F. C, G, A, E, D, H, and B, F. Those are corresponding angles. So then we'll take what are the alternate angles. What are the alternate angles we have here? C equals F. Sorry. E and E. D. E equals D. Those are alternate angles. So then what is the next one? We do have the interior angle. Interior angles. What are the interior angles here? We have C and E. So you add them together, it should be equal to 180. Then you get D and F. When you add them together, it is 180. Right? So those are the theory, the knowledge you should have before coming for this question, right? Again, check the diagram well and you see C and G equal, A and E equal, B and F equal, D and H equal, they are corresponding angle. Then the alternate angle C and F and E and D, the interior angles, they are not equal, but they are add up to 180. If you take C and E, they are interior angles and they will add up to 180. And D and F, yes, again, they are interior angles. Now, you just look at this. How do you identify this? I'll take a different color for this. Wait, yeah. So then if this is 92, right? Can you see? This orange color one is what? The orange color one should be 92. Why is that? What is the reason? What is the reason for that? Vertically opposite angles, right? That's the reason, right? So then if that is 92, right? If that is 92, then I'll take another color. So then how do you get this? So this one should be equal. We have different ways, children. Sometimes you may achieve the answer in a different way. The green color dot also should be 92. What is the reason? What is the reason? You write the alternate angle. Right. So then how do you find B? How do you find B? B plus 92 should be equal to 180. Reason, angles on a straight line. Okay, angles on a straight line. With that, you can find the value B is equal to 180 minus 92. So then you can do your working here. 180 minus 92. So then the answer will be 8. Yeah, so then 88. 8 plus 2, 10. 9 plus 9, 18. So then how do we get the answer here? B is equal to 88 degrees. And it is 88 degrees. So when you take it here, the degree value, it is important to use these degree values, children. So then it should be B is equal to 88. Then we do have different ways to do this, right? So then don't worry that you can find this one as that. Wait, I will mark it. So this cross as what? 92 plus cross equal to 180. With that, you can find the cross, and that cross is equal to B because of the alternate angle. So the way you have approached the question, it doesn't matter as far as you can justify that how I got this. What are the reasons behind this? I got this value with this reason. You should be able to justify your answer like I did. Okay. So then we will move to the fifth one. What is the value of the underlying number? Value of this is 4, and you know this is the unit place and the tens place, 100 place and 1000 place. Let's say if you have written the value of this that value of this number which is underlined as 1000, that is wrong. you have written the value of the place. But here we want to have the value of the underlying number. So that should be 4,000, right? It's in the thousand place. Then value of that number. How do you read this? 284,000. 4,000, right? So then it is 4,000 place, that is 4,000. And the next one, you want to round off that number to the nearest 100. Children, what is the 100 place? So this is the 100 place. First, you want to underline that. Then you look at the next number. It is 8. If it is 5 or more than 5, what you should do? You want to add. Now, what will happen, children, when you write the answer, right? What will happen? When you write the answer, 284,987. So this 9, you add 1, that 8, you add 1 to the 9. That becomes 10. So then you put 0 here, and that 4 will become 5. How do you write that? 285,000, 3 zeros. And inside the bracket, you write nearest hundreds. Right? And this is not that the equal value. You want to have the approximate equal value, right? Like this. So this is nearest hundreds. So then you can use this. This is approximately equal to, because that 9 becomes 10. We need to add 1 to the 100 place. That become 10, that means it is 0. Then that the 1, it passed to the other number, that becomes 5. Okay. Right. Then we can move to question number 2. Question number 2. Yeah, quickly we will finish part 1. Then we can start part 2 with a new video. What is the relationship between A and B? What is the relationship between A and B? For that, I would like to show you something. Now you can refer the textbook. It's like this. Okay. Yes. Look at this. So there are 2 types of triangles they have shown here. The first one, all 3 sides are equal. We call that an equilateral triangle. And all the 3 angles also equal in an equilateral triangle, and they have marked the value. It is 60 degrees. And you look at the second triangle, children, it is an isosceles triangle. So where you can find 2 equal sides. And the 2 angles at the base of the equal sides are equal. Here I want to show you something. Look at this. So let's say you have the same triangle PQR. To understand this concept well, otherwise you may think always you have the base angle like this. Let's say that this is PQR. And this is PQR. And this is also PQR. Now what happened, children? So in this first diagram, Q angle is equal to R angle. Okay, because with this. Let's say now these 2 sides are equal. Now still Q and R are equal? No. Now it is different. Why is that? Look at this. Now it should be P angle equal to Q angle. Okay. Then this time, these two angles, sides are equal. Now what happened? Now what happened to the angles? Now P angle is equal to the R angle. Hope it is clear that you can't expect that though all of them are the isosceles triangle where two sides are equal, then the equal angle will be vary with the sides which we can see as the equal sides. That is what I wanted to show you, right? Otherwise that you think always whatever the isosceles triangle, these two angles will, the isosceles triangle, these two angles will be equal. No, if you read the description here, two angles at the base of the equal sides. So if you get these two sides, so this is the base. If you take these two sides, so this will be the base. So if you take these two sides, this will be the base. Therefore, here Q and R is equal. Right, I'll take a different color. So then here it is Q and R is equal. Here it is P and Q is equal. And here P and R is equal. With that knowledge, so what is the relationship between, you can find, so then the relationship between A and B is A is equal to B. So what is the reason? You can write isosceles triangle, right? You can write it as, so then here they have explain you correctly, so then the isosceles triangle. Like this. Then here you want to write this as a single expression in index form. You can see here, children. So multiplication we can find and the division we can find, meantime we can find. So then the same base value, what you should do, at once you can do this, right? And there are two steps. With this two steps you can do, at once you can do. You can write like this. A plus B, you can add and CU, right? You can write it like this. A plus BU, that A plus B you should add because it's a multiplication, and C you want to subtract. So then you can write it nicely inside the bracket. How many halves are there in 20? How many halves are there? 20. So then let's say it's like you have 20 apples, right? So then you have 20 such apples, right? And you want to have half, that how many? So what they expect from us, straight away we can get the answer, but the 20 you want to divide by half to check that. How many halves are there, right? So then we know when you have the division like this, what we want to do, 20, you convert division into multiplication. When you convert division into multiplication, then the next fraction will get its reciprocal. That becomes 2 over 1. It becomes 40 over 1. That means 40. Then the next one, look at this, children. 5 to the power negative 2. You can write 5 to the power negative 2 over 1. Right? Then you get the reciprocal to make it positive. 5 to the power 2. So then 5 to the power 2 means 5 squared means 25. No? 1 over 25. Right? So then what you want to do in this question, 1 over 25, you want to add 5. So then I write this as a fraction like this. Now the different denominators, then I convert them into same denominators like this. Right? So then here 1 I can write as it is. That here this become, here this become 25 times 5, 125, right? So then you have the same base value, that the denominator, and 1 plus 125, right? So then the answer is 126 over 25. You can keep the answer like this, or else you can convert this into a mixed number. 126 into 126 divided by 25. So then you can write 5, 1 over 25. But without coming this much, you can easily do this. But it is, without doing all these steps, children, we can have this with 2 steps. It's like this. Now we realize that 5 to the power negative 2 is 1 over 25. For that, you add 1. Then what will be your answer? It is 5, 1 over 25. Okay, so this should be the final answer, right? So then we will move to the last question here. Draw a rough sketch. So then the bearing of a supermarket from a bridge. When you hear the word from a bridge, so then you want to have bridge here. So that is B, right? And if you use a letter, you want to definitely introduce that letter. Here supermarket is S, let's say. You want to introduce the letters. So then from bridge, so then the north direction should be with from, right? And you show the north direction. And 110 children, you don't want to measure it using the protractor, but it should be an approximate value. So this is 90 and this is 110, right? Approximately it's, and with this arrow, I show it is 110. So these are the information you want to record. Okay, children. So then we took, it's nearly 1 hour, I think now, right? So then we discuss almost all the question in part 1, but we have few more questions to discuss. I think to discuss the other part of this paper, other questions, with a new video. Okay. If I do this one, so then straight away I can go to part 2. I will discuss this question also, right? Question number 4. So here, question number 4, you want to correct the numbers to one significant figure, right? One significant figure. So then you want to get, this is the first significant figure. So this is the first significant figure. First you underline them. Then you look at the next number, right? Then you look at the next number. So then this is approximately equal to what? 9.8. That becomes 10. Then 2.9 become 3. And 5.2, it is 5 as it is. It is not changing because 2 is below 5. So then you can simplify 5 times 1 and 5 times 2. So then this is equal to 6. Hope it is clear. First, you want to correct each number to first significant figure, right? You want to underline the first significant figure. Then you look at the next number. If it is 5 or more than 5, you want to add 1 to the first significant figure. If not, you keep the number as it is. And after arranging them, after correcting them to the first significant figure, thereafter you can simplify and get the answer. A person buys an item for 40 pounds and sells it for 25.55. What is the loss? So then very simple question, children. So then he has bought it to 40 and he has sold it to 25.55. So then you want to find the loss. How do you find the loss? It's normally that the selling price minus the purchasing price. How do you calculate the profit? That is selling price. You can write it like this, selling price minus the buying price will be equal to profit or the loss. If it is a loss, there it should be a minus value. So then the selling price here is 25.55. Then subtract 40.4. We'll take it like this. So then we can find the, so then definitely you will be having a negative value. Therefore, it will be a loss because the selling price is lower than the buying price. So then loss. So then I take this, I will write loss and mark it like this. And I do the calculation here 40.00, then 25.55. Okay. And you deduct and show it. Here it is 45. Yeah, like this. Yeah, 14.45. And you want to conclude the answer. The loss is 14.45 pounds because this should be a negative value. Should be a negative value, right? So then the next one, they have given the values of B, C, D, C. So then we want to find the value of C. How do you do, children? How do you do that? You substitute the values. B here it is 3. Subtract negative 3 divided by 6, right? So then when you have two signs together, you know what you want to do. Negative and negative, that becomes positive 3 plus 3 divided by 6. So then 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 divided by 6, the answer is 1. If 10 apples cost 6 pounds, how much is an apple? So then you want to give your answer in pence, right? So that means you want to convert this into pence first of all, right? So then it is 6 multiplied by 100, that is 600, right? And 10 apples, 600 pence. So you divide 600 pence by 10 and it gives you 60 pence. Then here, what we can do, the last one, we can simplify. 15A, I write 15 times A over 3 multiplied by 6 times A divided by 5 and 6 times A divided by 3. Why I expanded, then it's easier for me to simplify. 5 times 1 and 5 times 3. 3 times 1 and 3 times 1. 3 times 1 and 3 times 2. Now what happened in the denominator? We don't have anything. So then it is 12, 2 times 6, 12, A to the power 3. A times A times A to the power 3. This should be the answer, right? Okay, children. So then we discussed the whole paper, that part 1, 2021. I will show it. All the pages we did. Yes, we did part 1, question number 1 with the workings. Then we showed all the workings here, right? So then, yeah, question number 4. Up to question number 4. Part 1 is done. So then I will explain you the part 2 with another video. What you want to do, go through all the steps. If you can't remember, like I referred the textbook, you also can refer your textbook and find the relevant pages and go through the box example. And when you are following this STP mathematics book series, it's very easier for you children because they have shown everything, all the examples in a box. And you know, also this is an example and they have explained the steps, what they have done. It's easier for you. So you have a long weekend too. So then again, I am telling, don't waste even a single moment. Watch the video and pause it. If you can't understand anything, refer the textbook and come to the question again, try to understand the steps, right? So then you can do it. That if you want to watch it again, replay it, and that you can watch that particular part which was difficult for you. Likewise, you can get the maximum benefit out of this just before your monthly test. Okay, children, we'll meet again with another video for the part 2, right? For the part 2, I'll do another video. Sometimes when it comes to the construction part, I'll move to the third video to show the construction separately. And meantime, I'm telling you, if you want to know all the construction steps related to your grade 7 book, I have done a separate video which you can find in the geometry playlist. With the name constructions. I have shown all the steps which you want to do. Construction, an angle of 60, 120, 90, 30, 45, bisecting an angle, bisecting a line, then how to drop a perpendicular to a line from a point, then how to construct the 3 types of triangles. I have explained everything. You can find that video in the geometry playlist. So we'll meet again with the part 2. See you children. Be thorough with the concepts we discussed so far. Bye children.